Good morning, second graders. Today is Thursday, April 23rd. Thank you for joining me again today as we get our must-dos for reading and math completed by watching this video. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh, that video is so long, it takes forever. If you can't sit that long, it's okay. Pause it between reading and math and then come back to it. But I really hope that all of you are watching the whole entire video throughout the day, because that's where we're doing our learning. And just think, if you were sitting in school, it would be way longer than my video is, right? So I think that you can sit and watch a video, because during the video, when we do our work together, I'm giving you hints and we're learning together along the way. So I hope that you are watching the parts, even if you don't see my face. I hope that you're following along in the book. Hopefully you're going to get the book. Hopefully you have it today. I know I keep saying that, but Scholastic has been back and forth about when the book is going to be delivered. So hopefully today's Thursday. Hopefully you will have it in your hands. If you don't have it already, hopefully very soon. So we are going to continue in our story today. And we left off in chapter 3 yesterday, where Annie was calling for help. It said he forgot about the stuff in his pack. Jack ran as fast as he could. He wove his way between the grazing zebras and giraffes as he raced to the river. "Help!" called Annie. Now, one of the things you were supposed to do in your packet was to predict why she was yelling for help or what was going to happen next to Annie. So hopefully you did that. And if you didn't, think about it right now. Go ahead, I hope you have your reading packet. If not, stop the video. Go grab your reading packet and a pencil, and while you're at it, grab your math too, and then we will get our reading and math done for our must-dos today. All right, with the cliffhanger that we left off at, Annie was yelling, "Help!" So I hope you have your predictions. You were supposed to do that yesterday on your sheet. If you haven't, quickly do that. And hopefully you've come up with why she was yelling help. And I'm going to guess, now I could be wrong, maybe some of you would guess it, but I'm going to guess that your prediction might not be correct, because what actually happens isn't something probably that you would guess, which makes it even more exciting. So we're going to start with chapter 4 today. And our must-dos today for reading just tell us that we have to read chapter 4. So just one chapter today, and then we'll talk about your reading packet when we're done reading the chapter. Chapter 4, Mudbath. Jack looked over the edge of the riverbank. Annie had fallen into a pool of mud near the water. The thick black mud was up to her chest. So did anybody predict that that was what would be happening? I don't think that I predicted that. I predicted something different. So falling into a pool of mud probably wasn't something that you would think of, but that's what happened in the story. "I slipped," she said. "It feels like quicksand." Jack threw down his pack and got on his knees. "Be careful," said Annie. "Don't slip too." Jack pointed to a tangle of old tree roots sticking out of the bank. "Grab those," he said. Annie reached for the roots. "Too far," she said, breathing hard. "I'm sinking." She was sinking. The mud was up to her neck. "Hold on." Jack looked around wildly. He saw a fallen tree branch near the bank. He raced to it, picked it up, and carried it back to Annie. Only her head and arms stuck out of the mud now. Jack held out the branch. Annie grabbed it. "Hold tight," said Jack. "I'll drag you over to the roots." He started pulling on the branch. "I'm still sinking," Annie wailed. The mud was up to her chin. "Come on," said Jack. "You can do it. I know you can. Try, try." Just then, Jack heard a splash. He looked up. On the other side of the wide river, a wildebeest had jumped into the water. Remember, I showed you a picture of those yesterday. Another jumped, then another. They were headed right toward Jack and Annie. "Hold on tight," said Jack. He pulled on the stick again. Annie moved a tiny bit. "Hey, Jack, on the moon, it felt like I weighed 10 pounds, said Annie. And that was a reference to a previous book about when they visited the moon. "And in this mud, it feels like I weigh a ton." "Concentrate, Annie," said Jack, trying not to slip down the bank. I am. The lead wildebeests were halfway across, swimming toward them. Many more wildebeests were jumping into the water. It's now or never, said Jack. He took a deep breath. He pulled really hard. Just then, a shadow passed over them. Jack looked up. Uh-oh, he said. A huge vulture circled overhead. Now, a vulture, boys and girls, is a big bird, and oftentimes vultures will come when an animal has died and they're laying in the road or in the woods, and the vultures come and they pick at the dead animal and they eat it, which is kind of gross, but that's what vultures do. And so that's why the vulture is here. And Jack will explain. It says, it thinks you're near the end, said Jack, because vultures will circle over an animal that's hurt or injured and possibly dying. And then when the animal is dead, then they attack and eat it. That's how they get their food. Oh, get out of here, Annie shouted at the vulture. I'm fine. In a burst of fury, she let go of the branch. She lunged for the roots. She grabbed them. Yes, cried Jack. Pull, pull. Slowly, Annie pulled herself out. She was covered with the black mud from head to toe. Jack helped her onto the bank, getting mud all over himself. And there's the picture. There's the picture of the vulture circling overhead, because he thought maybe Annie wouldn't make it. And there's the picture of the wildebeests. They're coming across the river, and Jack's helping Annie out of the mud hole. See? Annie shook her fist at the vulture. I'm fine. Now beat it. But the giant, ugly bird still circled. Come on, let's get away from him, said Jack. He pushed his glasses into place. Rats, he said. Now his glasses were muddy. He tried to clean his hands in the grass. Oh no, shouted Annie. Jack turned to her. The wildebeests will get stuck in the mud hole, she cried. She waved her arms at the wildebeests, struggling to swim across the river. Not here, she shouted. Not here. But the frantic swimmers kept coming. And that's where we stop for today. Now, why do you think Annie kept saying, let me see where we're at here, not here, not here? What was she trying to tell the wildebeests? If you go back in your book and look, you might be able to find it if you reread it. And if you guessed she didn't want them to get stuck in the mud hole, you guessed correctly. Good job. All right, so we will continue in our story in the next few days. Hopefully you're going to have the book by then and you can follow along. It's so much nicer if you actually have the book. But I love that most of you are listening to my video and enjoying the story even without the book. Good job. So today on your matrix, it says complete pages 6 and 7 in your reading packet on the 23rd. So this is what your pages look like today for your reading packet. You get to do, it's kind of like a character map, and it's a bubble map. And you are going to think about Annie and what words would best describe her appearance, her actions, her thoughts, and her feelings. So you're going to put words in each of these circles that describe Annie. Okay, and we've talked a little bit about what kind of character she is already. So hopefully you have some ideas that you can fill in some of them. But there are 7 circles. So I want you to come up with 7 things that could describe Annie. And it only has to be one word in each bubble, or if you want to do a phrase, you can do a phrase in each bubble too. That's fine. Some words, some phrases, whatever you'd like. And then on page 7, you're going to do the same thing, but page 7 is about Jack. Okay, so there's Jack. Once again, thoughts, actions, appearance, and feelings. Okay? And you can use the story too. You can use the story to tell what Jack did for Annie or what Annie was doing for Jack. You can go back and look, and even chapters 1 and 2, whatever you would like to describe Jack and Annie. So go ahead and do those 2 pages. And again, on Seesaw, there is something on there, an activity that you can do where you can take a picture and upload it and use the microphone to tell me about your work. And even if you don't use the microphone, you can go ahead and take a picture. That's fine. But if you use the microphone, then I get to hear your beautiful voices, which I love. So feel free to do that as well. All right, for math today on our matrix on the 23rd, it says do independent practice numbers 2 through 6 in your math packet. So hopefully you have that in front of you. If not, pause the video and go get your math packet as well as a pencil so that we can complete your math must-dos today. We always start by correcting the day before. And so all you had to do yesterday was to use the tally chart to make a bar graph. So this is going to be really fast. Blueberry had 4 tallies. So you should have colored in 4 boxes. You start at 0 and go all the way to 4. Hopefully you put your dot in each one and then outlined it and then colored it in. Strawberry was 2, lemon 1, and cherry 5. So that's what it should have looked like. And I hope you told a family member the difference between bar graphs and picture graphs. Hopefully you said a bar graph has numbers on it to tell you how many, and that it has a bar for each vote. And then hopefully you said a picture graph has a picture for each vote. Something like that. All right, today on your matrix, it says do numbers 2 through 6 on page 551 and 552. So you should have your paper. Here's 551. And it is independent practice. And it says a helpful hint. Color 1 box for each tally mark. And that's what we've been doing, isn't it? So complete the tally chart. Use the tally chart to make a bar graph. So your job will be to turn this tally chart into a bar graph. Remember the hint I gave you. Put a little dot in each box. Outline the number that there are and color it in. So this one, because the numbers are across the bottom, it's going to be horizontal, isn't it? Okay, and then this one, about left-handed or right-handed, there's your tally. Don't forget to total it. And this one, because the numbers are on the side, your bar graph is going to be vertical. Okay, don't forget to start down here. Don't start at the top and go this way. In a bar graph, you start in the bottom left where it's 0 and you go up. Okay, so go ahead and do those. And then on the back, you have brain builders. And it says, use the data to fill in the bar graphs. And this one's about favorite juice pop. So you have cherry, grape, orange, and lime. It says, Alyssa took a survey to find which juice pop flavor 15 friends like. 6 voted for cherry, 5 voted for grape, 2 voted for orange. The rest of her friends voted for lime. Now remember, just like one time we had a problem similar to this in our picture graph, and so we have to do what we already know is there. So 6 voted for cherry, so you can go ahead and do 6 dots in your cherry and make your bar graph, and 5 for grape. So do your 5 dots in each box, outline it, make it 5. 2 for orange, so do the same for orange. So if they had 15 friends that voted, and we had 6 plus 5 plus 2 that actually have already voted, you would do 15 minus what's 6 plus 5 plus 2? If you said 13, you're right. So 15 minus 13 is 2. So that means 2 more people have to vote. And it tells you the rest of her friends voted for lime. I kind of helped you on that one, didn't I? All right, number 5. Luke took a survey of 18 friends to find their favorite soup. 4 voted for chicken soup. 6 voted for vegetable. The same number voted for tomato soup and noodle soup. Okay, so this is about favorite soup. Again, 18 people were surveyed. Okay, 4 voted for chicken. 6 voted for vegetable. So fill those in first. And how much is 4 plus 6? If 18 already voted, No, if 18 were surveyed and 10 already voted, how many are left to vote? And then it says the same number voted for tomato soup and noodle soup. So the tomato soup and the noodle soup have to have the same size of bar. Okay, so you have to take this answer and split that in half so that this one and this one are the same length of a bar graph. Number 6, suppose each square in the favorite soup graph above was worth 2 votes. How would your bar graph change? So in this graph right here, how would it change if each vote equaled 2 votes? What would that do to your bars? And what else would you need on your graph? All right, go ahead. Good luck. I hope that you have a wonderful day, second graders, and I will be back with you tomorrow. Have a great day.